Hello, I'm Kara Kinsler, and you are listening to Inside IASB, a podcast series that explores leadership and education topics as they relate to school board responsibilities. The Illinois Association of School Boards, IASB for short, invites guests from Illinois public school districts to offer insight into current and best practices. This second series will take a closer look at who school board members are. There are close to 6,000 school board member volunteers, elected or appointed, to represent the interests of 2 million Illinois public school children. It is an unpaid position. With each episode in this series, you'll hear a school board member share why they serve, as they talk about their motivations and experiences as a school board member. In this episode, listen to my interview with Jim Sanford at Norwood School District 63. Norwood is a primary and elementary school that feeds into Limestone Community High School. Jim has served the Norwood School District as a school board member since 1979. When I interviewed him, he talked about the rewards of being a school board member in his community and how he's been able to maintain a balance with his service, his career, and his family. Jim reflects on his years of service and hopes that he has brought stability to the district. Let's listen. To begin, a little bit about Jim and his service history.
I've been on the board since 1979. I've been really involved in public service in that I've been a trustee on the fire department. I've been a member of the board of directors for a small credit union, and just like to consider myself as just an ordinary guy, blue collar, raised 4 kids. We have 12 grandkids, 6 boys and 6 girls. We have 9 great-grandkids. I retired from the railroad after 42 years. We've lived in the same house for 46 years. I've been on the board for 43 years. So I guess you'd say I'm a believer in long-term commitments.
He remembers when he first got started with school board service.
One of my most memorable experiences was after a few years of being on the board, a neighboring district went bankrupt. And the state said that if you annex them, we'll help you with the financial dealings that they had that got them into bankruptcy. And they said, if you don't, we can assign you 95% and not give you any assistance financially. So it was kind of a forced situation that our community did not want. Shortly before I got on the board, our board went door to door to pass a 50-cent referendum. And they had come from not having hardly any reserves to building up a stable reserve. And our community just did not want to put that in jeopardy by assuming another district that had such financial problems. The situation was that our student population had dropped to the point that we were having to co-op with other districts to man our sports teams. And by annexing them, it doubled our school size overnight, both student population and area. We gained a air-conditioned building that we ended up allowing the K4 to go to, since we thought it would be better for them to be air-conditioned. The older kids could put up with the heat better. And it really appeared to be a negative, and people were against, but it proved to be a very positive situation. And the two communities have grown together, and there's a lot of things to consider when 2 districts merge. I mean, it's the name. What do you do with the trophies and the banners and that? But it's taken a couple of years. I've been probably 10 by now that we are one community now, and there's no calling one school by its original name and ours. It's just Norwood Primary and Norwood Elementary.
Jim talked about his longevity on the board and how that has positively impacted the community and the board.
I feel it's brought about a lot of stability that some districts don't have. They've had problems with board members, and I think that by having me on there such a long time, I've actually handed an 8th grader his diploma. Later on, hired him as a teacher. I've hired teachers, and ended up giving them their retirement gift. And so I think I've helped tie the board and the district together, especially the teachers in that. I've developed such a trust that when we were struggling financially, I worked with the teachers and told them that I want you to have a respectable wage and working conditions, but we can't get there overnight. And they trusted me. And I think that now we've got a very respectable wage scale, and we've gained a lot of respect in the Limestone district because we're one of 8 that falls into Limestone. One of the faults I found, maybe you'd call it, in new board members, when a problem comes up, they want to cure it immediately, fix the problem. And if I have a phrase, it says, don't rely on knee-jerk reactions. Has it happened before? What's the likelihood of it to happen again? What have other districts done in the same situation? And that has helped me, and I think helped new board members to learn to just take your time. We'll solve this problem, but a lot of things can't be solved overnight.
Is there a difference to being a parent to a student in the district and being a grandparent? Here's how he responded.
No, I think it's just giving support to the teachers and administration, whether it's a grandchild, a child, or just a child of the neighborhood. When you can help out, help out. Always have a need for people to come forward and give a hand, and I found that to be true in our community.
I asked him how he's been able to balance his career and his family time with his responsibility to the community. Here's how he answered that question.
Well, I've had times that by serving on the school board and homeowners associations and fire districts and that sometimes I just realize no matter what it is, I just need a night off. I don't go to the meeting. I let them know that, I'm sorry, I can't attend tonight. Please fill me in afterwards, what went on. But sometimes you just have to have a little me time, away from it.
When I asked about one of the proudest moments of his school board service, you can imagine he's had several, but there is one that stood out.
I feel it was hiring that student that I'd handed an 8th grade diploma to. He went on to high school, did well, went to college, graduated, wanted to get into teaching, which I thought was a nice feeling that we must have did something right in his education, that he wanted to help out other kids. And then we hired him as a teacher, and he ended up continuing his education and was a superintendent after that. So I felt that I helped gain a teacher and helped gain an administrator. We've hired part-time janitors to give some of our high schoolers that's in the upper grades a chance to get some part-time work in the evening. And like I say, just keep it a community.
Here's his advice for newer school board members.
All people get on a board for a reason. They just don't wake up one morning and say, I'm going to run for the board. There's a cause and effect there that something's brought them to that decision. And sometimes they need to be made aware that we're not individual members that have any kind of authority. It comes from the board as a whole. And if you have an issue, you have to work within the board to get that accomplished. And hopefully we can accomplish it to their satisfaction, and it be a decision that the whole board has come to resolve it. And that sometimes you just have to remind them to just sit back, relax, get the hang of it, how the board work and what each of the factors are, the teacher's responsibility, administrator's responsibility, and the board member's responsibility. And they're all different. And I like to rely on my thought that you do not micromanage your administration. You hire good administrators and you let them do their job. If they're starting to get off the path a little bit, you rein them in. and tell them, that's not going with the board's philosophy. We need to get something resolved to get us all on the same page again. And I think that's the reason we've kept our superintendents. Been very fortunate to have great superintendents.
I asked Jim what else about his years of experience on the board he has enjoyed.
I enjoy going to the annual conferences. I'm looking forward to this one. I try and encourage our board to go as a whole. And we usually have a majority of the board members come up. They participate. I really build it up during the year that if you want to see anything from a school window to a school bus or, a gym floor to curriculum, security, safety, any of that, come to the conference because you'll be able to see it firsthand.
How does he sum up his experience as a school board member? Here's how Jim answered that question.
I would say it's been rewarding. I mean, I've learned so much. I love being involved. Have never been one to just stand on the sideline and watch. I figured that, give it a try. Sometimes you get self-assured enough to go out there and try, but you find out that the people that are on the organizations and that aren't superhuman. They're just normal folks like you that want to help produce change or improvement.
Thank you, Jim Sanford, for your time talking to me about your service. I hope you've enjoyed the show. If you are a school board member and would like to share your experience with listeners, or if you have a question or topic you want to be addressed in a future podcast, I'd like to hear from you. You can email communications@iasb.com, or you can visit anchor.fm/ilschoolboards to leave us a voicemail. Thanks for listening.